the Getch family. You guys already know what time it is, man. Maybe don't. Were you guys expecting this? I'm not sure. Little early stream for you guys today. We're going to hop into week 16 waiver wire must adds. Now, it's a little bit of a strange week, right? We've got games tonight. We got games tomorrow night. So there's going to be more waiver wire implications coming out of those games, more than likely. So it's a strange week. You guys already know it. I mean, and yesterday was a very weird day of football. I know a lot of you guys had to have got burnt, but nonetheless, we're going to hop on here. We're going to go through week 16 waiver wire must adds. Hope you guys enjoy this stream. Hit that like button on the way in. Make sure if you're new to the channel, hit that sub button. If you guys end up watching this retrospectively, feel free to drop any comments, questions, concerns pertaining to the 2021 fantasy football season down below. All right, let's not waste any time. All right, let's start with Ronald Jones. Okay, so Leonard Fournette, amongst others, leaves the Sunday Night Football game last night. He came into the game with an ankle injury, and he left with a hamstring injury, going up against a very stout New Orleans front seven. But nonetheless, Fournette exits, and in comes Ronald Jones. We know that Jones can play like an RB1. And listen, that's all we really need to know. There's no Fournette. There's Ronald Jones. He's part of a very, very explosive offense. And that's all we really need to know. Okay, he gets Carolina next week. I think Fournette will definitely miss week 16. I'd be very surprised if he plays. And then you get the question of, if they beat Carolina next week, then they get the Jets in week 17. I think there's a likelihood that they rest Fournette through week 17. I mean, it's a very winnable game. They might be coming off of a divisional loss to New Orleans. New Orleans swept them this year, but nonetheless, right? If they can hold off Carolina in another important divisional game, I'm not going to be surprised if they sit Fournette through week 17. And you guys know that we love to stream against the New York Jets, no matter who the running back is. I got burnt yesterday if you started Gaskin because for some reason Duke Johnson got all the carries, but that's a different story. Nonetheless, if Ronald Jones is an RB1 versus the Jets, this explosive Tampa Bay offense, then we're going to want him. So he's worth the number one waiver wire addition just based off of that thesis. Nonetheless, he should be an RB1 in a game that the Bucs need to win next week. So that makes Ronald Jones your number one add on the week. He ended up rushing 8 times in relief for 63 rushing yards. He caught 2 targets for 8 yards. But keep in mind, A, this New Orleans front seven is incredible against the run. And B, the game script didn't support running the football. I mean, the Bucs needed to score, and they failed to do so. Nonetheless, let's move right on. All right, I got Gabriel Davis up next. Listen, with Emmanuel Sanders out, Davis has been phenomenal, okay? We liked Davis early in the year, but he just wasn't incredibly, consistent, right? And there's so many mouths to feed within this offense as well. Nonetheless, he's been balling out lately, man. I mean, let's look at the last 3 weeks. He's had at least 1 touchdown in each game in the last 3 weeks, okay? Week 13 was one of the only scores in that snowy, windy game against New Orleans. 10 fantasy points at least. Week 14 against Tampa Bay, at least 12 fantasy points. And then against Carolina, 23 fantasy points and a half PPR scoring format. So full PPR, these numbers are much, much better. Listen, week 16, it's not an incredible matchup versus New England, but he did score against them in week 13, like we just talked about. Nonetheless, in week 17, he's got Atlanta, guys. Okay. So this is another player that we're going out and we're looking at thinking down the stretch, right? I mean, I could see the Bills continuing to rest Emmanuel Sanders if they need to. But even then, if Davis is stepping up, Davis is stepping up, man. And right now, it looks like Josh Allen really trusts this young receiver. So I like Gabriel Davis quite a bit. Am I in love with the matchup in week 16? No. But if you can pick him up, hold on to him for week 17, I really like that idea. All right, Amon-Ra St. Brown continues to maybe make us believe in the Lions receivers for once. I know we haven't done any fancy reaction to the week yet, but what happened, Cardinals? Anyways, I like Amon-Ra St. Brown at this point in time. Okay, and I mean Josh Reynolds looks okay. I mean this passing attack looks actually okay. Do we want to trust the Lions? Well, why not? They got Atlanta in week 16. They got Seattle in week 17. So I like these matchups. Ended up catching eight receptions off 11 targets, 90 receiving yards and a touchdown. And the big win for the Lions over the Cardinals yesterday. He's had at least 8 catches and 11 targets in 3 straight games, 259 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns within that span. Full PPR. I think he's a great start at this point. Okay, like I said, he gets Atlanta. He gets Seattle. Keep an eye on Josh Reynolds, too. I mean, Josh Reynolds had a really, really nice day as well. So, why not just go ahead and throw Reynolds in here as well? I think Brown is the receiver that you want. But, I mean, if you started either of these guys yesterday, these were 2 of the top scorers before Sunday Night Football kicked off. I mean, yesterday was an incredibly weird day of fantasy football and an incredibly bad time to have such a weird week being at first round of the playoffs. But nonetheless, let's look at Josh Reynolds. I mean, half PPR last 4 weeks, 15, 6.7, 8.9, 14.5. I mean, full PPR, those are not bad numbers. So if you're in a deeper league, once again, he gets Atlanta and Seattle. So take a look at both of the Lions receivers. I think St. Brown and Reynolds are the 2 to have, and St. Brown should be ahead of Reynolds, right? All right, moving on, we got my guy, Russell Gage. I feel like Russell Gage has been in every waiver wire pickup video for the last 8 weeks. Maybe not the last 8 weeks, but for the past couple weeks at least, we've talked about Russell Gage. We've talked about him on and off basically since Ridley's been gone, right? 11 targets yesterday, 8 receptions, 91 receiving yards, and a touchdown. I mean, listen, San Francisco's secondary is okay. They're not that bad, and he played very well against them. We look at the last, let's say, 4 weeks, okay? Week 12 against Jacksonville, 15 points. Week 13 against Tampa Bay, 16. Week 14 against Carolina, 8.4. But once again, these are half PPR numbers. So full PPR, not too bad there. And then yesterday, just under 20 points. I mean, and now he gets Detroit. It's a steeper matchup, week 17 against Buffalo. Nonetheless, this is a player that you want to roll with. Russell Gage has been fantastic. Let's see here. He's either had 100 yards or a touchdown in 3 of his last 4 games. This is a receiver to own, okay? It's a tough matchup in week 17. Can we trust him against Buffalo? I'm not entirely sure, but it's Detroit in week 16. So roll with him. Why not? All right, moving on. So Joe Mixon was helped off the field in what was just a grungy, ugly matchup between the Bengals and Broncos, which I think a lot of us got burnt in that game as well. Nonetheless, Joe Mixon is helped off with an ankle injury. He's been, banged up off and on throughout the season. He was running around shortly after. Anyways, Purine is a great stash in terms of a handcuff situation. He could get the start against the Ravens, and he's been good in relief of Joe Mixon. Okay, this is a big divisional win with the divisional game with the Ravens losing last night, right? Every team in this division has 6 losses. The Browns are obviously going to obviously did not play and will now be playing between Monday and Tuesday, right? But nonetheless, even if they lose, that's only 1 game behind. I mean, this division is super tight. So let's say Purine suits up. I think it's a good game script, right? All right, moving on. Duke Johnson, take a look at him. There's so many weird situations going on with Miami's backfield, right? Salvon Ahmed missed the entire week of practice. Philip Lindsay is currently on the reserve COVID list. Malcolm Brown is on IR. Gaskin came back, and we loved him as a play yesterday against the worst defense in the league against opposing running backs. And Brian Flores said, well, he didn't really practice this week, and Duke Johnson did, so we're going to hand him the rock. So the thesis was right, but the player was wrong, and Johnson had a good day. If you're in a deeper league, if you have roster room, things like that, I think you can pick him up, but just do it with caution because it's, Gaskin can be back pretty shortly as well. All right, Craig Reynolds for the Lions had a nice day. Did not find the end zone, but saw 27 touches for 117 rushing yards. He's had at least 99 rushing yards in the last 2 games. Deandre Swift is still on IR. Jamal Williams is still on the reserve COVID list. It's hard to say what's going to happen here once again, but he gets Atlanta and then Seattle. If he's the RB1, pick him up. Okay. I thought maybe Jamar Johnson would have some impact on these overall touches, and that did not happen. Craig Reynolds looks to be the player that Dan Campbell and company are trusting. So take a look at Reynolds simply because he gets Atlanta and he gets Seattle, and those are two matchups that if he's the RB1, hell, if he's the RB2, he might be worth the stash just based on the matchups. All right, Justin Jackson is more of a handcuff situation for me with Austin Eckler. I think they'll begin to slightly dial back his touches just because this team is making a playoff run and they need Eckler healthy. He's easily their best offensive weapon. No offense to Keenan Allen or even Justin Herbert or Mike Williams. Eckler's the guy, right? Nonetheless, Jackson ended up getting 14 carries. He turned that into 84 rushing yards on Thursday night. He caught one target for 13 yards. He's worth the handcuff situation if you've got the roster room for sure. All right, let's take a look at MVS of the Green Bay Packers. Listen, every week, is it MVS? Is it Allen Lazard? It's very, very difficult to call. If you need a boom or bust option, if you need some upside, they're going to play Cleveland next week. Last week, we talked about Allen Lazard, and I brought up MVS's numbers. I showed you how inconsistent the two are. If you need a boom or bust play against the Browns, the secondary is not that great. MVS is a good option, but hey, you could argue Allen Lazard is a good option as well. All right, let's talk about Jalen Guyton of the Chargers. Didn't have a crazy stat line Thursday night, but he did score. He has a touchdown in his last 3 games. If you're in a very deep league, if you're in a full PPR league, all these things, right? If you're just absolutely hurting, I think Guyton's worth an addition. It looks like Herbert trusts him as the wide receiver 3 on certain plays where Williams or Allen are seeing more of the defensive pressure, especially in the red zone. He trusts Guyton. So, like I said, deeper leagues, I think he's a good add, but I do think there are better receiver options, like we talked about at the beginning of the stream, in leagues that aren't as deep. All right, let's see. Keep an eye on KJ Osborne. If Thielen doesn't play, he's still someone to consider moving into Week 16. If Thielen does play and Osborne steps up, keep an eye on him, right? All right, moving on here. Let's see. We've got some streaming options at the quarterback position. Ben Roethlisberger's got a good matchup. Jimmy G's got a good matchup. Matt Ryan, Tua, and Justin Fields will all have good matchups next week. Oh, let's talk about the Jets receivers. Yeah, I've got them in here too. We talked about Braxton Barrios last week. I said, I kind of like Barrios. I do. And he ended up scoring. Shout out Braxton Barrios. Listen, the matchup against Miami, and then next week against Jacksonville. So, and the following week, the Jets play Tampa Bay, 2 very bad secondaries back to back. So, yeah, I kind of like Barrios once again. Okay. But on top of that, I do think Jameson Crowder is another player we can take a look at. But once again, he disappointed us. Wow, I can't talk. Disappointed us versus Miami. Nonetheless, Jacksonville, much, much better matchup. So deeper leagues, full PPR leagues, maybe take a look at the Jets receivers being Jameson Crowder and Braxton Barrios as well. On top of that, that just about does it. I mean, we got 4 more games to play, guys, so I knew that this stream would be a little bit quicker overall. So certainly throughout tonight's fantasy Q&A, tomorrow's fantasy Q&A, and Wednesday's fantasy Q&A, we will have plenty more information, on what to suggest in terms of the waiver wire. So make sure you guys stay tuned. I did want to bring up one last player, more of a shout out than anything, because we don't know what this team status will be heading into Week 16. But my guy, Tyler Huntley, 215 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 73 rushing yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns. Just under 36 fantasy points. I don't think anyone started him. If you did, kudos to you Phenomenal day for Tyler Huntley. If Lamar sits next week, yeah, I think Huntley is a play against the Bengals. I really do. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he's going to, go up for 36 points again like he did against a good Green Bay defense. I mean, what an entertaining game. I think that was the best game of all day yesterday. But yes, if we get news that Jackson doesn't play, I do think Huntley's a starter for sure. And I think some other teams around the NFL might be thinking the same thing. So that's how we'll cap off our Week 16 waiver wire must adds. Hope you guys enjoyed this stream. It's going to be a weird week. Okay, we got Christmas week, right? A. B, we have 2 games tonight, 2 games tomorrow. A lot going on, right? A funky week overall. But, and I know Sunday was a bad day, right? I'm hoping to get with you guys tonight and see kind of how things turned out for you guys, because I have a bad feeling a lot of you guys got burnt, right? A lot of players, Tom Brady, Kyler Murray, just not a good week, man. Not a good week. Here's a list. This was before Sunday night's game, okay? Steven actually sent me this. These were the top 10 fantasy scorers before Sunday Night Football. Number 1 was Tyler Huntley. Number 2 was Mark Andrews. Number 3 was Brandon Cooks. Number 4 was Duke Johnson. Number 5 was Gabe Davis. Number 6 was Christian Kirk. Number 7 was Aaron Rodgers. Number 9, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Number 8, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Number 9, Cam Newton. Number 10, Russell Gage. Yeah, a strange day nonetheless. Strange day of football nonetheless, and a bad week to have a strange day. So I certainly hope all you guys won your matchups. Good luck to everyone who has players who have to perform tonight and tomorrow. We'll be on tonight for sure for some fantasy Q&A. So I appreciate you guys coming out to the stream. Make sure you guys hit that like button if you haven't done so already. If you guys watch this retrospectively, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe down below. Join the Catch fam. Hit the like button. Drop any comments pertaining to the season. Anything I can help with, I'm happy to. We'll be on tonight as well. I'm going to go ahead and hop into the live chat for a second and see who came out today. All right, let's see here. Marky Mark. What's going on, Mark? Good morning, my guy. Great stream. Mark. Brandon Cooks. We made the right call. As soon as Brandon Cooks scored, I thought about you, my dude. John, who should I flex tonight? Renfrow or Montgomery? Thanks, man. Have a wonderful, blessed day. Hey, appreciate that, John. Right back at you, my dude. Thanks for coming out today, man. I would go. I like both these options. It depends on how many points you're down by. I think Renfrow's a safer option the way he's been playing as of late. I think Montgomery might offer a higher ceiling. I think they're both phenomenal options. If it's full PPR, maybe you just stick with Renfrow because he's been on absolute fire. But Montgomery's got a great matchup. I think Montgomery's getting ready to make a big playoff push similar to James Robinson, who performed very well against Texans yesterday. Maybe we shouldn't get too excited. But yeah, I think Renfrow, safer floor. Montgomery may be a higher ceiling. Mark, great stream. Hey, appreciate that, Mark. Appreciate you, my dude. Kyle, streaming you while I'm in school. Hey, stick to your studies, Kyle. Early morning stream. Yeah, it is early for me, isn't it? I got a question. I'm down by 9. I have Carlson and Jefferson, half PPR. He has Cousins. So hopefully Carlson can get you a decent stat line, somewhere between 8 and 12 points. That's pretty realistic with how he's played on the season. And then when we're looking at Jefferson versus Cousins, right? You're kind of hoping for more of a PPR style game where, they're not really getting into the red zone, but Jefferson's very involved, and Jefferson's kind of helping you, outpace Kirk Cousins. So it's going to be close, man. That's for sure, Kyle. It's going to be close, but nonetheless, I think you definitely have a shot here for sure. All right, boys, we're going to go and cap off the stream. Just wanted to hop on. Saves me some time if I can live stream these versus pre-recording them and having to edit. I got a lot to do today, boys. But hey, I appreciate everyone coming out. Like I said, we'll be on tonight to do some fantasy Q&A. What a wacky week we've had already. It's gonna be a crazy week. Christmas, all that stuff. Games tonight, games tomorrow. It's going to feel like a short week. We got games on Saturday as well on Christmas Day. So we got a lot to prepare for. Keep your hopes up. If you got burnt yesterday, I know a lot of big names did not perform well from a fantasy perspective. Good luck to everyone who needs help tonight. Good luck to everyone who needs help tomorrow. We'll be on at some point tonight, so stay tuned, guys. Make sure you got the notification bell on so you never miss any uploads or streams. I appreciate you guys. Everyone have a great start to your week. I will see you guys tonight. Hit the like button. Comment if you watch this retrospectively. And, of course, help us get to 1,000 subscribers here at The Catch. And join The Catch fam by hitting that sub button down below. Got nothing else to say, but thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And remember, you saw it here on The Catch. And peace.